Hey guys, what's up? It's December 13th already. Let's get into it. So on the bottom left of the screen, you'll see my levels that I'm trading. Prior day value area high and low. Those are these white lines, as you can see here. The green line is prior day POC, point of control, so where the most volume the prior day was traded at. I do have the overnight low and high marked out, not really using that for anything, just kind of a reference point. Uh, and then in the middle, I don't want to trade into a new low or high of the session. I don't want to trade back into a seller or buyer imbalance. I want to basically be trading into areas that are free and clear where I know we should face minimal support or resistance. And then on the far right, I just have my entry model. And I'll go over that in a second here. So if you see sell or buy, that means it should fill all of these requirements. Sometimes the indicator does not work as designed, but for the most part it does. So if it's a sell or buy, that means it has more volume than the prior candle. It means that the shape of the candle and the shape of the candle, we're looking at two things. We're looking at wicks. If it's a bearish candle, we want it to have minimal lower wick. So my threshold is 75%. So if you look at the high and low of the candle and you put a fib tool over the candle that breaks it up into 25, 50, 75, the close has to be at the 75% or below. So what that would look like is something like this. Nope, not that one. Orders. And you can see 25, 50, 75. This closes below the 75, so it's valid. This is valid. Basically, again, if it doesn't say sell, it means it didn't qualify for one of these things. But for you guys who doesn't have this indicator, I'm trying to get this published, but for some reason, TradingView is having a hard time letting me publish. I press the publish button and nothing ever seems to happen. I'll try again after this video. But that's what the shape of the candle, that's the wicks it's looking for. And then it's looking at the body as well. Just because we have a red candle potentially with more volume and it closes in the right spot doesn't mean it actually qualifies. The body is very important. If you look here, the candle is in fact red, but it has this huge upper wick, which, yeah, it's good because that means sellers stepped in and pushed price down, but they didn't really actually push price down because look how small that body is, and there's no lower wick, so they barely made any dent at all. So that's not a signal anyways, but that's what it's taking into account. We don't want to use small bodies because small bodies don't really tell us much. We want to see good, strong moves that are obvious to us. And so then the high-low placement, what we're looking at is looking at the last two wicks, or the last two candles, so the high there and the high here. Our signal candle has to either be the highest or second highest for a short, or it has to be the lowest or second lowest for a long. It can't be the third lowest. Just a weird little nuance I noticed, a little pattern I noticed enough to make me want to incorporate that into my rules. Um, so that's what we're looking for. I'm going to actually also start a challenge while I have you guys. I'm going to start a challenge. It's going to be my live account challenge where I am only taking perfect trades at these levels and at the imbalances. So you notice here down at the levels levels it says imbalances. So that's some people call them fair value gaps. I like to call them imbalances. Why do I call them imbalances? Because I like to visualize it, right? All right, this is a um, old school weight scale, right? If you have buyers over here, B for buyers, S for sellers, you got three buyers, you got one seller. Your buyers are, it's imbalanced, right? Your scale is imbalanced. You got more buyers than sellers, you push price up. And typically this leads to creating a fair value gap, as some call it, or an imbalance. So like if we look right here, we can see that happening. And that's how I like to imagine it. And this is why volume to me is so important, because volume is showing me this right here. It's showing me all of these people step on. So if we imagine, actually let's look at this example here. Um, where's the brush? There it is. Like this, sellers, buyers. You can see, price is kind of hovering here, but then you can see the higher volume comes in, right? So what and it's at the level we're looking at. So let's just say this is 5 and this is 3. It's an it it's more sellers and buyers. It's more volume of sellers at a level where we think sellers or buyers might be interested in. And clearly the sellers showed us with the volume, with the shape of the candle, the size of the body, the placement of the high, that it tapped into a big supply where the sellers are. And so we're just going to take that information and use it to take a trade. Now here we have an imbalance down here, but we don't. It's beyond our first target. So after our first target, we go break even. So here's one where we're not trading into an imbalance or a breakout. Our final target gets hit at this purple line here. So that right there is a perfect example of what we're looking for and why this trading strategy works, and at least for me makes sense. This is why again, and this is why I call them imbalances instead of fair value gaps, because I imagine the imbalance of sellers stacking up versus the buyers, and when that happens, eventually I then imagine, they fall off the edge here because it's so imbalanced that that's what leads to these moves here, and we can see that happen. Can I drag all of this? Yeah, can I? Yeah, I can. Sweet. And that's again what happens over here. We're going up here, we're getting buyers, but then all of a sudden a bunch of sellers pile on here. Actually not a bunch, but enough to tip the scales. And enough to tip the scales to get those sellers to start rolling off and creating that snowball effect of just massive sell-offs. Now this though is, however, a breakout trade. No breakouts. This is a breakout trade, so this is one I did not take. I was watching this and I was ready to take it with my live account, and I did not do it because it would have been a breakout, and I rationalized, and I like this. I rationalized this goes against my rules because, right, like even though yeah it has the entry model, it's a breakout, and I don't want to trade a breakout. That part's against my rules. It is in an imbalance up here, so that part is good. But if I lose this, I'm going to be very upset with myself. So I didn't take that trade. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. Um, that's how it's going on. This was Friday. You guys can look at the past days. I'm not going to do that. But I'm starting that challenge, a playlist where I will be uh, basically just talking about the trades I'm taking on my live account, what I'm thinking about, what I thought about, and all that stuff. So I am going to stop the video here, and I'll see you guys in my next videos.